now a necessity for any outdoor activity, weather permitting, of course.
Hello and welcome to a very special live and outside edition of Britain's only programme devoted to the weather.
In this week's open and clean air edition of Weather Permitting, we remember the great London smog of 1952.
And we'll meet the man who'll have the answer as to whether or not we have snow at Christmas.
And Steve visits the famous Shepperton Studios near Kingston in London.
But for our look at the weather abroad, we return to Washington, where floodwaters are now receding after a week or more of devastation. Over 2,000 people have been evacuated from their homes and many millions of dollars worth of damage has been caused. One of the major structures, the interstate bridge over the Squalamy River east of Seattle, was washed away.
Now, as I'm sure you all know, filming assignments, quite like this one, don't always work out quite as planned. And when Steve arrived at Britain's second largest movie studio at Shepperton the other day, things weren't quite as they seemed.
Well, today, for weather permitting, I've come down to location in southwest London, not too far from Kingston-upon-Thames, to meet a very special man and a very special dedicated team of professionals. Today I've come down to southwest London to a location not too far from Kingston-upon-Thames to meet a very special man and a very dedicated band of professionals. Come down to southwest London, to a place not too far from Kingston-upon-Thames. As you've probably guessed, we're meeting today the men who create the weather, this dedicated band of people. Not only have created the wind and the rain, but we've got snow for Christmas. Thank you, lads.
The snow itself, it's a paper, it's washed, it's shredded, it's fireproofed, anti-fungicide, and then it's compressed into bags. And if it gets into gardens, if you dug it into the soil, it acts as a mulch. We tend to lay sheets normally down on the floor, either plastic or calico sheets. And when it's finished, you just grab the corners, pick it up, and away it goes in the dustbin. The fog itself, I mean, we can do all sorts of fog, whether it be very, very fine fog, or just smog, where you really can't see a hand in front of your face, which is totally useless for filming. The way we make it rain now is, as you saw, we were using the rain stands, which are aluminium tubes with heads on the top. Those heads are variable, so we can get a very fine rain to a medium rain to torrential downpour rain. Anything you want. Whatever the director wants, the director gets.
Wherever you might be.
Ace Effects, Allen's special effects company's most recent work, was for the Rakel Vodafone commercial. They made it rain for this scene, which took nearly 13 hours to film.
When we were making Vodafone, we were actually inside a stage making rain. And nobody had realised, and nobody had told the Sparks, that it was going to be raining inside. And the floor got very, very wet. And it wasn't until somebody got a jolt of electricity that they suddenly realised that the floor was becoming live. And so very swiftly cables were lifted and plugs put on top of boxes to keep them out of water.
It's the largest mobile phone network.
We did the rig for the rocks. We made the rocks back in the workshop here. And then we transported everything up to Northern Ireland, to the Giant's Causeway. And that was quite horrendous because the weather was bad and the rocks were very slippery.
But you wouldn't change the job that you do, would you?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, sometimes you can be in the warm and it's really nice and enjoying yourself. Another time you're out there punching away in the snow and the rain, like you were today.
Paddington Bear in a blizzard there.
I get the best jobs on this programme.
And so to our region-by-region forecast for the weather in your part of the UK this weekend. High pressure will produce a quiet weekend, but with some frost and fog night and morning. Saturday in Northern Ireland will start grey and misty and rather chilly. Later on, a few bright patches with hardly any wind. Little change on Sunday with a light breeze springing up.
A dry day in northern Scotland on Saturday, but with a lot of cloud and the threat of a little drizzle. Sunday will be a breezier day with a brisk southwesterly wind. There'll be a lot of cloud and a little rain.
On Saturday, most parts of the border should be bright, although some places may stay grey, foggy and cold. Sunday will start grey and misty, but it'll brighten up later. There'll be a bit of breeze.
A dry day in northern England on Saturday. It'll be cool, grey and misty with the occasional bright spot. Sunday will start frosty and foggy. Brightening up later, there'll be a light breeze.
To the west, where Saturday will be dry, cold and foggy, it should brighten up near the coast. Sunday will start foggy and frosty, cool and cloudy later, but there may be the odd bright spot.
Saturday in the east will be cool and cloudy. A few places will be brightening up with a light breeze. After a frosty start to Sunday, there'll be little change.
Saturday will start misty in the southwest with some fog patches. It should brighten up later, but it'll feel cool. There'll be some frost and fog on Sunday morning. It should brighten up, but most places will stay cool and cloudy.
Central southern England will be dry, cool and cloudy on Saturday. There'll be a light breeze and a few places may brighten up. Sunday will mean frost and fog first thing, then staying cool and grey, but it may brighten up towards the coast.
And finally to the southeast, where Saturday will be dry and cloudy, feeling cool again with a light northerly breeze. A frosty and foggy start to Sunday will give way to another cool and grey day, but the coasts may be brighter.
Well, this very special edition of Weather Permitting, live and outside, as you have probably gathered by now, is very special because this week we celebrate the anniversary of the great London smog of 1952.
The Great Fog of London has been the chief topic in the south of Britain. In fact, the fog was the worst on record for many a year.
The so-called smog was in fact a lethal cocktail of fog, industrial smoke and oxygen, which combined to produce a sulfuric acid. The death rate went up 7 times, the elderly being the most vulnerable. And in fact, over 4,000 people lost their lives.
Phyllis Pearsall is a writer. She's also the woman who created the London A to Z maps. Now, she remembers the smog of '52 very well. Phyllis, what was it actually like to live through the Great London smog?
It was completely disorientating. One couldn't breathe, one couldn't see in front of one at all. It was like being in a great wall of yellow cotton wool, and human beings had to put handkerchiefs up to our mouths and our eyes, and we couldn't find our way. And the buses started trying to go before the smog came down, and men with flares tried to guide them. They stood in front of and walked slowly in front of the buses to guide them, but the buses had to come to a stop. They couldn't do anything.
And what sort of physical effects did it have on each individual then?
On each individual, first of all, people got terrified because they lost their way. You didn't know, you thought you were walking the right way along a road, and you found yourself in the middle of the road, with traffic possibly coming along. You couldn't hear anything. Everything was muffled. It was the most extraordinary feeling, as if you weren't even touching the ground with your feet. But everybody went to work. They came through the underground. But, of course, another tragedy was that at Smithfield, a week before the cattle show, the good cattle had come there, and they were trying to help the cattle to breathe. They put sacks over their heads, poured whiskey over the sacks to keep them damp so that the cattle could breathe. But many died, and many died a fortnight later. Also, old people died by I think 20 or 30, even more, died because they couldn't breathe. And indoors, unless you could keep absolutely warm indoors, the smog seeped right in. It was oily. Everything was oily. People with tropical fish, the fish died. They couldn't breathe because a little layer of oil settled on the water, which stopped them getting the air in. Everything was in thick with grease. And if you blew your nose when you got home, because you couldn't see it otherwise, it was all black. The absolute black stuff had got into everybody's lungs. People who smoked, because in those days nearly everybody did, their lungs were already spoilt with emphysema, and through the smog, as I say, a lot of them were ill with bronchial trouble, and many died.
Phyllis Pearsall, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for being interested in our life at 1952.
Fascinating lady. In a moment, I'll be talking to the man who'll be predicting for you whether or not we'll be having a white Christmas. That's after the weather forecast for UK and the rest of Europe for next week.
Monday is going to be a windy day with a few showers over northern Scotland. Rain over southern Scotland and Northern Ireland will sweep southwards during the day. Tuesday will be dry and sunny with wintry showers confined to northern and eastern coasts. The strong winds over Scotland will quickly subside. By Wednesday, more cloud in northern areas will bring drizzle to west-facing coasts and hills. Thursday will bring more rain and wind to Scotland and Northern Ireland, but further south and east the weather will be dry. And on Friday the rain will die out as it moves southwards across England, followed by sunshine and wintry showers with a cold north wind. Abroad now, and Northern Europe will have an unsettled and windy week with rain and snow in Scandinavia and temperatures as low as -20. And there'll be more snow on the Turkish and Greek mountains. The central Mediterranean will be cold with thunderstorms in the Canaries.
Well, our final guest on the programme this week is no stranger to the programmes such as these. Here's Piers Corbin, who runs a weather service, and he's the man who knows all about things like this. Welcome to the programme, Piers. First of all, I have to tell you, most of your predictions are actually based on the sun. It's a bit pointless to ask you this evening, but how accurate are you?
We're 80% accurate, which means we're basically right 8 times out of 10. And if it was all down to luck, we'd have to wait another 100 years to be as accurate as we have been this year.
Right, now, how does it work? Because it's actually based on the sun. I mean, how do you work it out?
Well, it comes from a long study of solar activity, such as sunspots and other types of solar activity, such as solar flares. And those behave in a sort of semi-cyclical way. And by a long study of those and comparisons with the weather, we're able to find out when the weather in the future is going to be similar to certain times in the past, and from that we make a forecast.
Now, how far ahead can you forecast?
We can forecast up to 7 months ahead, but we're expecting to be able to improve that soon to maybe 11 months.
Right, now the thing, of course, that everybody wants to know, the all-important question, are we going to have a white Christmas?
Well, there's a good chance of it. I should tell you that our detailed forecast for December, which was issued in July, stated we would have very severe snow, heavy snow, and a lot of drifting from around mid-December onwards. We expect that to generally die out a bit from around December the 23rd, but it still may be around on December the 25th. So I'd say there's a 50-50 chance of a white Christmas in the north and Scotland, and about a 25% chance of snow in London.
Right, now, finally and briefly, what happens after Christmas? Are we going to get more?
No. What we expect after Christmas is severe gales, winds, milder weather, and a lot of rain.
Piers, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And that's just about it, I'm afraid, from this final and very special edition of Weather Permitting. Been good?
Great.
A lot of names are going to pass in front of you. They will mean not very much to you, but to us they mean an awful lot. They're the people who help us.
See you soon. Bye-bye.